What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Happy Saturday. Good morning. We're going to do, I'm not sure if this is going to be a vlog, a day in the life, a full day of eating, all of the above. We're going to do some sort of a vlog today. I haven't done a vlog in a while, and I want to get back in the habit of doing those. So sometimes you got to just rip off the Band-Aid and just get that process started again. So here we are. It is Saturday. Today is also a rest day for me, so I am not training. So Saturdays, I don't really do too many check-ins unless I have clients who are competing like right away in the near future, like, you know, within the next like couple of weeks. That would probably be when I would do weekend check-ins, but most of my check-ins come Monday through Friday. Saturdays, I usually reserve for posing practice. So when I have clients who are getting close enough to a show where we are practicing their posing kind of in real time, I'll usually try and schedule those calls on a Saturday morning. So I have a couple of calls this morning that we're going to get taken care of. I like to do these posing calls as close to fasted as I can with each individual athlete, just to kind of maintain accuracy of the conditioning and just to kind of get a more clear picture of where they're at. So just kind of waiting for these couple of guys. I have two guys that I'm posing with this morning. Just waiting for them to get woken up and get situated in the Zoom call here. In the meantime, I will jump on the walking pad behind me, and I will drink the coffee and water that is behind me. And that's pretty much how I start every day, is hydration steps, just kind of get moving. And once these guys get situated in the call, we'll get everything set up and ready to go.
In retrospect, yes, I know what you mean.
This is Hani Rambod's podcast, and this episode is with Patrick Tuor. I really like Patrick Tuor. Patrick Tuor, every time Patrick Tuor talks about training and nutrition, I'm like fascinated by what he has to say. What's up, man? Can you hear me okay?
Yep, I got you.
Front relaxed whenever you get situated. Okay, back double. I think you're a little too far now, but I think the answer is a middle ground. It's where you were and what you just did, and it's somewhere in between there. But and then just pull your biceps up from there. Very productive posing calls this morning. Really happy with some of the improvements that these guys are making. Just, you know, there are certain points in a prep, like usually towards the end, where hopefully by then the athlete is really dialed in, so to say, with everything, and they're really confident with how they're going to present their posing and everything. And the posing calls are actually really short. It's basically me just going through the poses and going, yep, looks good. We'll do it tomorrow, or we'll do it next week. But when you're kind of in those like early stages of the prep, like today, for example, one of the calls that I did, the athlete just recently found a new way to hit their rear relaxed, which makes them look considerably better. And that type of stuff is really, really exciting, like not only for them, I'm sure, but for me as well, to kind of take that and incorporate that into the whole process of presenting their physique. So, you know, in the early parts of the prep, as you're kind of discovering new things, those are always really, really exciting times. And as you kind of get towards the end of the prep, you should be fully like locked down with everything. And so obviously it becomes a little bit less about discovering new things and more about just practicing what you've already been doing. So posing sessions aren't always fun, but they were fun today. So that was fun to do, obviously. Now it's time for me to do my posing practice and take my progress pictures. I always take my progress pictures in home every 8 days, which is after the end of a training rotation. So after I do all 4 of my workouts, A, B, C, D, the day after I do the D workout is when I take my progress pictures. So I'm gonna do that and get that done. And then I'm not sure where we'll go from there. I got a list of things that I need to get done. I'm just not sure what order I'm gonna get them done in. So obviously the big thing with progress pictures is taking consistent lighting. So this whole room, my office right now, is set up for the lighting to be consistent and replicable. I don't have any overhead lighting in my office. There's no like overhead lights or anything. So all of the light naturally comes in from the window or it comes from what is out in the main living area. So the blackout blinds will completely, obviously, black out the external lighting, and then I shut the door to the hallway so that the room would be completely pitch black if it weren't for the ring lighting that I had set up. And then the ring lights are set up in the same positions with the same settings every single time. The tripod is set in the same position at the same height every single time. And then I have a white wall behind me. Preferably what would be better would be if I had more of these and I had those on the wall. I actually should probably get some of those. But a white wall is good to go. You just don't want anything on the wall, preferably like these jerseys or marker board or anything that's going to kind of take away from the background. And then we're obviously just focusing with consistency and replicating this every week when we take the progress pictures. It's super common for people to use natural lighting from outside, but I don't like using natural lighting most of the time because it's hard to replicate. One week the sun may be very bright and you may look awesome. The next week it could be thunderstorming and you look like shit. And I just really think that for consistency's sake, it really is best for you to have all of your lighting not come from natural lighting, from lighting that can be replicated. Posing practice done, and it's time for meal 1. This is not normally what I have for meal 1. I normally have this as either meal 3 or 4, but I'm gonna move some of my meals around today. Just a couple different reasons. You know, not anything too crazy. I just kind of want to move some things around. So this is a liquid meal. This is 50 grams of oats, 100 grams of a berry medley, and then I have 30 grams of whey, and then 240 grams, 1 cup of fat-free milk, and then I also have my creatine in here. I put 10 grams of creatine in here, and then I get a choice between 25 grams of white rice, cream of rice, or Rice Krispies cereal. So I'm doing 25 grams of Rice Krispies cereal here, and let's see if we can get this on video. We got some real groundbreaking stuff here. We're taking the, gotta get that. We're taking the shake and we're using that to mix up the cereal. So I'm gonna eat meal 1. My Zuki girl is eating her breakfast too, and then I'm gonna take her out for a walk before we come back in and pick back up with the workday. All right, dog walking time. This is always fucking interesting. I don't know how many of you guys have dogs, and then out of those people who have dogs, how many of you guys have big dogs and how many of you guys have little dogs? I grew up my whole life with big dogs, not only in my family, but like my immediate family, but my extended family. I'm from a farming family, so we had a lot of labs and healers and sheepdogs and stuff like that. And you know, a lot of the dogs in a farming family, obviously people love their dogs, but in a farming family, like sometimes dogs are viewed as just kind of as like another piece of farming equipment, like kind of in a way. So the point that I'm trying to make there, I guess, is that I kind of grew up my whole life viewing dogs as like, or like being around dogs that were used more as, like a tool, I guess you could say. Never had small dogs, always had bigger dogs that were a little bit more useful for hunting or farming or something like that. When I met my girlfriend, she had a little Yorkie, a little Yorkshire Terrier, and that was kind of my first experience with a little dog. And then when Carissa and I adopted our first dog, we adopted Zuki. Zuki is, she's what's called a Chai Weenie, which is Dachshund and a Chihuahua mix. So she has the long body of a Dachshund and all the mannerisms and everything of a Dachshund, but she has the facial features of a Chihuahua, and I'm sure she's got some other like Chihuahua like features as well. But she is awesome, except for when we take her out on a walk. Everybody says this about their dog. Our dog is literally like the perfect, sweetest, like cuddliest angel of a dog. And then when we take her outside to go on a walk, she's like at everybody and squirrels and birds and other dogs. And it's only here in our neighborhood. If we were to take her somewhere else and take her out in public, she's totally fine. So I'm obviously not a dog expert, but I think that's just like a territorial thing. I don't know if she's like trying to protect us or protect her territory or what, but it's always interesting trying to take this little dog for a walk. But I still recommend little dogs. I never thought that I would say that, but I've kind of been telling people ever since we got Zuki that every big man needs a little dog. But she is a drama queen. She's a lot to deal with sometimes when we take her outside. And when it gets cold like this, she's got to wear a jacket. She's a princess. When it rains, she won't go outside. If it's too cold, she won't go outside. So she's great, but she is a diva. Before we get back in the office, I have some meat that I want to cook. I've got some chicken that is thawed by now. And then I've got some frozen ground beef that I'm going to let thaw so that I can cook that tomorrow. Man, I've been getting really lucky with my beef recently. You probably can't, well, maybe you can see that yellow sticker on that. The last 3 times that I've gone to the grocery store to get beef, I have found beef that's been 50% off, that's been getting clearanced off. I found 96% lean ground beef at Aldi 3 weeks ago. And then 2 weeks in a row now, I've been able to get a 3.5 pound, container like what you just saw of the 93 beef at Walmart. And then when I cook the 93 beef, I just rinse that to get any extra fat off. Obviously, normally I would buy as lean as possible, but when there's something that's just slightly fattier for a way, way cheaper price, because beef in the United States right now is extremely expensive. I'm not sure what beef prices are like overseas, but in the US right now, beef is really, really expensive. So if I can find a cut of beef that's just slightly fattier for way cheaper, I'll rinse the beef. I'll rinse it twice if I have to get it as lean as the 96% stuff. And still save the money, obviously. So coincidentally enough, too, with the chicken, these are the chicken breast tenderloins, which are usually a little bit more expensive than chicken breast. But for whatever reason, the chicken tenderloins were cheaper than the chicken breast this week, which is a win because the breasts, sometimes I got to trim a little bit of the fat off, but there's hardly any fat on the tenderloins. So I'm going to get the chicken put in the Instapot, and then we'll meet back in the office. Meat, get it? Meat. Before I get to work in the office making some content and stuff. I'm actually gonna clean my office. This is something that I have been holding myself accountable to doing once a week, usually on a Saturday or a Sunday. It's not in my nature to do that. I don't know if you guys have seen that meme or whatever, but it's like a desk that's like super dirty and super cluttered. And the caption is something like, you know, guys will still be able to tell you where everything is in this mess, or, you know, something like that. That is definitely me. But ever since I've been holding myself accountable to cleaning my desk once a week, it just kind of makes me feel good about my workspace. It kind of makes me, in a way, it's like, you know, this week is over and we're starting a new week, and it's kind of like a fresh start. And obviously when the office is clean and there's no clutter in the office, there's like less clutter in my mind and stuff like that. I know that's kind of sappy and corny to say, but I do find that just taking care of my stuff, which I have a really bad habit of doing, but starting with my office and just kind of trying to take more care of the stuff that I have is just something that I've been holding myself accountable to doing every week. So we're going to do a quick little cleaning of the desks, and then vacuum of the floors, and then we'll get started making some content here. Office is clean, and now I'm gonna make some content. So I've talked about this maybe a couple times on my YouTube channel, but obviously a huge part of online coaching is creating content. You know, every online coach that you know is a content creator, and that is not a coincidence. You know, if you want to have an online business, you need to have an online presence. So obviously coaching is the thing that pays the bills, but the thing that funnels clients to the coaching business is the content. So content is obviously a big piece of the puzzle. Because of that, I have a couple different lists basically of content. So I have this marker board up here. I have on my I have a couple of computers. On my like side computer here, I have a content list. I have a list on my phone. Basically all of my electronic devices, I have like a running list of content, because usually what happens is I think about content ideas at random times. Maybe I think about a video idea when I'm in the gym, or when I'm in the car, or while I'm working, or whatever. As ideas for content pop in my head, I write them down. And then basically, usually on the weekends, or if I have like a day during the week where I get free time, I do the bulk of my client check-ins, and the client work is Monday through Friday. So obviously Monday through Friday is pretty busy, but whenever I get like free time during the week, I will usually just sit down and I'll take a look at my lists that I've made on my various devices, and I'll just ask myself, what can I make from these lists? Especially like this week in particular, because Thanksgiving is coming up this next week and I'm going to be doing some traveling. I've really been trying to get into the habit of like bulk recording and bulk saving content so that I can kind of spread it out throughout the week. And if any of you guys are content creators, or looking to get into content creation, that would be something that I'd recommend for you guys too. So today is a day where I have time to kind of actually make some of these videos and picture posts and edit some stuff, so we just get caught up on that. It's not a particularly exciting thing to do, but it is a necessary part of the process While I was cleaning, I finished up on the Hani Rambod and Patrick Tour podcast that I was listening to this morning. And at the moment, I am watching, this is the Call of Duty Black Ops 7 kickoff Search and Destroy tournament. So I've also talked about this on my channel before. Actually, I'm in my office, this jersey that you can see above me here, jersey. With the spaceman on it. These jerseys on the wall, by the way, they kind of reflect like my competition stuff that I've done. So I played football, American football for 7 years, and that's my jersey that I wore in high school. And then after I got done with high school football, I was competitive gaming, hence the tournament behind me. And this was one of the jerseys for one of the teams that I was on. And obviously now I'm in bodybuilding. And so this was the t-shirt from the show where I coached my first client. So anyways, getting back to the gaming thing, I was a competitive Call of Duty player for, I think, 3 years, 4 years maybe. Way back in the day. To be honest, if there was anybody that was subscribed to this channel that is or was subscribed to my channel for gaming and happens to be watching this, that would be crazy if you could comment that. That's a 1 in a billion chance. But I was doing the content creation thing around gaming and competitive gaming a decade ago, and I still follow the scene pretty closely in Call of Duty. I haven't actually bought a Call of Duty game in probably 10 years, but I still love to watch every year. And for those of you guys who are up to date with the Call of Duty lore, the latest installment of the series, Black Ops 7, just dropped, and I think it just came out like maybe a week and a half ago. But this is kind of like the first official tournament that they're having for the game, and it's just a search and destroy only tournament. But it's just being the first tournament of the year is always a cool thing to watch if you're into that sort of thing. So as I'm kind of editing, which is a pretty monotonous task, editing videos, like I said, it's pretty boring. It's just kind of a monotonous task, but that's a good opportunity for me to have something like this playing in the background just to kind of fill the space. Got a bunch of content done and pre-planned and everything, so pretty happy with how that chunk of time was spent. Meal number 2, everything is in raw measurement weight, so the measurement before I cooked it. So this is 210 grams of 93% ground beef with 75 grams of white rice, 100 grams of salsa, and then I have 100 grams of pineapple in here. Finished up meal 2, and then I did about a 15-minute walk on the walking pad, which I meant to film, and then I just completely forgot about it. So I'll try and get the next walk on video, but I walk after every single meal other than my last one. After my first meal, I take the dog out, which you guys saw, and then I do like a 10 to 15 minute treadmill walk after meals 2 and 3. And then after meal 4, I take the dog out again for her last walk of the day. And then my last meal, I don't have a walk, but it just kind of helps me get my steps in throughout the day. It helps with digestion after your meals. It helps regulate blood sugar. There's a lot of benefits for it, but it's just something that is basically such a habit for me at this point that I forgot to film it, but I'll get a little clip of the next walk. For now, I'm gonna do some work in the kitchen. And by work, I just mean that I need to do some dishes, and that chicken that I cooked earlier is done, so I need to get that drained off and everything, and I need to prep my meals for tomorrow. It's pretty early. It's only like 2:30, but whenever I get a period of free time during the day, I always like to prep my meals for the upcoming day. I'm a really, really big believer that if you want to be a good bodybuilder, there's a couple of boring, monotonous tasks that you just need to come to peace with and do every single day. And prepping your meals is one of those. It's literally not something that I can go to bed without doing. Actually, last night I ate my second to last meal, and then I fell asleep on the couch. And then when I woke up, I was like, shit, I got to get my last meal in. And then I told myself, you know what, I'll just prep my meals first thing tomorrow morning. And I basically was like about to crawl in bed, and I was like, no, I got to take 5 minutes, 10 minutes to put my meals together for tomorrow. So the meals that you're seeing me eat today were put together late last night at like 11 o'clock before I went to bed. But that's, you know, as I said earlier, I think there's a couple things that if you want to be a good bodybuilder, you got to do. Prepping your meals is one of those things. It's really easy to have excuses as to not hit your meals and not get those in. But the main excuse that I hear a lot of the times is that people don't have food prepared, or they just didn't have the food with them. And that just purely comes down to discipline. Prepping your meals, cooking the food, putting it in the containers, and having it ready to go when it's time to eat. So that's a habit that I literally can't get away from, even if I had tried. Meals are prepped, and I cleaned the kitchen as well, just scrubbed the counters and swept the floors and stuff. It is time for meal number 3, which is basically the same exact thing as meal number 2, except for a different protein and a different fruit. So I've got 210 grams of chicken, 75 grams of white rice. I've got about 60 grams of the Frank's Red Hot Buffalo sauce, and then I've got 100 grams of mixed berries. I have been listening to just old podcast episodes and stuff while I was cleaning. My favorite bodybuilding podcast is a podcast called It's Just Bodybuilding, with these 3 here. And then obviously everybody knows Fuad. And Fuad's probably like my second favorite podcast. So this is an episode I've seen a couple times probably. But it's just a good, episode with a lot of my favorite people in it. I didn't forget. See, I remembered to show you guys, as I had mentioned, just a short little walk after meals 2 and 3 on the treadmill. After meals 1 and 4, my post-meal walk is the dog walk. All right, well, at this point, I've gotten all of the work and content stuff done for the day that I wanted to, so we're gonna chill out a little bit. Watching this Call of Duty tournament all day has kind of gotten me wanting to play some Call of Duty, so we're gonna play some Warzone. I usually can only play COD for 45 minutes to an hour before I kind of get bored playing solo. So that'll kill about an hour or so. I've got some Diet Dr. Pepper in here, and we're just gonna chill out for a little bit. I got maybe an hour to an hour and a half or so before I'm gonna eat my second to last meal. There's a little game winner for you. First game of the day. Give me that. Give me that. Give me that. Meal number 4, this will be the second to last meal of the day. On a normal day, this would be meal number 1, but I just kind of wanted to switch some meals around today, mainly because this is my favorite meal of the day. I really like this one, and lately I've been getting hungrier as I get further into my diet. And so it just, it lends itself better for me to move my favorite meal towards the end of the day. So I've got 100 grams of apple here. This is a Honeycrisp apple. I just take an apple, I have an apple slicer, I slice it up and then I weigh it. Whatever is over 100 grams goes to the gremlin. 100 grams of apple, and then I've got 2 whole eggs, 130 grams of turkey sausage, 25 grams of white rice. Again, that is raw measurement. And then I've got 2 English muffins here. There are 2 things in this meal that are not on the plate yet. I'm very particular about the way that I eat this meal. Imagine that, right? A bodybuilder being particular about the way they eat. I like to eat the apple first, get all of the apple down, and then I will eat the eggs and sausage and rice. And then on the eggs and sausage and rice, I will put ketchup on that. But I like my ketchup cold out of the refrigerator. So if I put the ketchup on now, then while I eat this apple, by the time I get to the eggs and sausage, the ketchup will be warm. So I wait until I eat the apple to put the ketchup on because I want the ketchup to be cold. And then I eat all of that. And then I get a piece of cheese, cheddar cheese, and I break that into 4 pieces. And then I put a little piece of that on each one of the English muffins, and then I eat that last. Just like the ketchup, I like my cheese to be cold. I don't want my cheese to be melted. This meal has kind of evolved a little bit. It started as sandwiches. I used to put the eggs and sausage and cheese on the English muffins and eat them like sandwiches. But again, as I've gotten hungrier, I've kind of like deconstructed the meal a little bit just to kind of make it take a little longer for me to eat it. So again, this is my favorite meal of the day. I'm just kind of weird and particular about the way that I like to eat it. The other reason why I wanted to move that particular meal to later in the day is because that meal is my highest fat meal. And that is significant because I am going to take edibles tonight. And I have been tossing back and forth in my head whether or not I want to talk about this all day, and this may not even make the final cut. So if you're seeing this, then I've decided to be transparent and post it. There's a lot of things that I could say about THC and cannabis. I guess that I'll just start off by saying that I live in Illinois, where recreational cannabis use is legal. So for any legality purposes, that's one of the reasons I'm kind of hesitant to talk about it. I'm not sure what the rules are with YouTube and whether or not this video could like get flagged for that. But I also think that there's still some negative stigma out there with THC and weed, but I want my channel to be dedicated towards being honest, and I want the people that like me to like me for who I am. And so as hesitant as I kind of am to post this, I think that it probably is important that I do it so that, I can just be honest with you guys, and then you guys can determine from there whether or not that makes you think less of me as a person. THC and weed, cannabis, I'm just going to call it weed. I don't want to sound super like scientific or whatever, but weed is something that I do use daily. I have a weed vape that I use at certain times of the day. It's been something that I've done daily for a while now. I couldn't really pinpoint how long, but maybe 4 or 5 years if I had to guess. Edibles are something that I don't do super often. I would say that I probably do edibles maybe every 6 to 8 weeks. It's actually not something that I do super common, or super often, but I do want to do them tonight, just for no other reason than I want to. So I don't know if I can show products on here, but I'm going to. So this is what was left of, I'm finishing off basically 2 packages of products that we have. So the first one is a little bit of a chocolate bar. This is just a milk chocolate bar. This is incredible. It has like no THC weed taste to it at all. This is amazing chocolate. So shout out to Detroit Edibles, if the 1 in a billion chance that somebody from that company seems to be seeing this. And then I've got 2 of these gummies, and this is from a company called Choice Chews. These are cherry limeade. I really don't care for these. They don't really taste that good. Cherry limeade is a flavor that even like in the supplement world and everything, it can either taste good or it can taste like medicine. And then these do kind of have a little bit of a pretty strong weed taste, so I'm not too crazy about those. Between this little piece of chocolate and these 2 gummies, it's somewhere between like 50 to 60 milligrams of, but closer to 50 milligrams of THC, which for me is a good amount and a good dose, especially because I'm taking them with a high-fat meal, which goes back to why I started this in the first place. I am not super like up to date and educated with weed and how weed works. I just like getting high. I'm not really like super picky about everything, but I did have somebody at the dispensary tell me that when it comes to edibles, you should really be looking at using products, using edibles that are made with fat, and in particular saturated fat. So things like milk, butter, certain types of oil like MCT oil or coconut oil or something like that. The gummies are really good, but a lot of the gummies are just made with pure sugar. They don't really have any sort of fat. And from what I understand, what this person explained to me is that taking the edibles with fat, and in particular saturated fat, it increases the amount that they're absorbed. And I swear by it. Ever since I learned that, when I do take gummies like this, I'll always take them with some sort of a saturated fat, but I mostly tend to buy edible products now that are already made with saturated fat. So less like sugary products like gummies and stuff like that, and more chocolate bars and cookies or like stuff like that already has the fat in it. I do track the calories for these. Now, I don't know what the calories are, but this chocolate bar, I just track it as Hershey's milk chocolate, and I just weigh it out in grams. And then these gummies, I just track these as Sour Patch Kids, and I weigh those as grams, because these are just pretty much pure sugar, and really you could use any gummy candies. I just use Sour Patch Kids because that's the first one that came to mind, and this is really just like normal milk chocolate, so I track it as that. So, again, it could potentially be a whole video on its own where I talked about that, and I'm not even sure if that's a video that I really want to make, again, just purely because of the legalities and what could go into that with YouTube. If there's anybody who knows more about that than me and would let me know if I would be safe to make a video on that, then I would appreciate that. But that is part of the routine today, and I just wanted to share that with you guys out of transparency. Here we are again after meal 4. Take the dog out. This is her last walk of the day. All right, just took the dog out for her last walk of the day. My last walk of the day too. I have hit my step goal, so that is good to go. You can probably hear in the background that I have the bathtub running. I am going to take an Epsom salt bath. That is part of the routine every night on a rest day, is to take one of those. And while the bath fills up, let's talk about sleep and kind of how I set up my apartment and just kind of how I set up my day and what I do to set myself up to get a good night's sleep. So first things first, obviously you can see the blue light blocking glasses. I'm a huge advocate of these, and I've had a lot of clients that have started using these and really notice a big difference with them. The big thing that I notice, and I have had clients say this too, without me saying this to them first, so I know that they're not just agreeing with me, that they notice, the biggest thing that we notice is how quick it takes to fall asleep. Because the blue light blocking glasses limit the blue light, I can fall asleep quicker because my nervous system isn't as stimulated because of that blue light. Now I'm gonna walk out into the kitchen here, and it's gonna kind of get darker, but that's the point. You can see above me here, we have certain light bulbs in our apartment are changeable. So we have an app that you can go through and you can change the color of those. Another one is in our bedroom. So I'm in the bedroom now, and we have one in here. During the day, like with the one out in the kitchen, I'll turn that on the color white so that it almost like mimics sunlight and it's nice and bright in there, especially at this time of year when we're not really getting a lot of sunlight. But as we get towards the end of the day and it starts to get to nighttime, we change the colors to red or orange, usually red, just to kind of set like a dim lighting and just kind of set the mood like for nighttime and relaxation. Some other tips for the bedtime. Sorry, my dog wants to dog bed. That's like such a typical like dachshund thing, she jumped up on the bed while I was talking there and wanted to go under the blanket. You can see you probably can't tell, but I have the window open just a little bit. So our body temperatures need to actually drop for us to be able to fall asleep. And so a super easy way to allow that to happen is to keep your room cool. During the summertime, we run our air conditioner, but during the wintertime, I kind of keep the window cracked right for maybe an hour or two before we're about to go to bed. And then before I go to bed, I'll either shut the window or some nights I'll just leave it open. Just kind of depends, but I want the room to be cool. I'm the guy who uses, it's super dark in here. I'm the guy who uses a fan year round. So I have a fan blowing on me at night, again, just to help keep me cool and help me fall asleep quickly and stay asleep. Blackout blinds are another huge one. I kind of showed some blackout blinds earlier this morning in my office. Those are actually they're actually black in color. These are not. These are like the hotel ones that you'd see in like a hotel room, but they serve the same purpose. They black out all of the sunlight and the moonlight and everything at night, so our room gets completely pitch dark. I've heard sleep specialists recommend to have your room like a cave, dark and cold. So that is the way that we set our room up year round. So the blue light blocking and limiting your exposure to blue light before bed, setting the tone. We have gone as far as to use light bulbs that change color just to kind of help set that tone. We don't have that in every light bulb in the house, just specific ones. Honestly, it's actually just the bedroom and the kitchen. That's really all that it is. And then the blackout blinds. Those are really the big things that I like to do. And then the Epsom salt bath, as that kind of is running in the background. Now that's a magnesium salt. I've heard people say that Epsom salt baths don't really do anything, and they'll reference like certain studies and stuff. For me, it's as simple as it's a relaxing thing to do, laying in the hot water and just relaxing. And I'll probably show you watching a podcast or a YouTube video or a sports game or something as I'm just chilling there. When I do that, I take a shower. I come out of the shower. I'm actually taking a hot bath and a hot shower, contrary to what people would think, actually lowers your body temperature, which, as I said earlier, needs to happen for sleep. So I usually come out of the Epsom salt bath and shower feeling pretty tired, and that's a good transition to just eating my last meal and going to bed. So whether or not the Epsom salt bath itself and the magnesium salt is actually getting into my muscles and helping me feel relaxed, I don't know. But the act of laying in a hot bath and just chilling out itself is worth, putting the salt in the bath, and even if it is placebo, like for me, it's something that I do every rest day. It's a pretty important part of my recovery process. So we are going to watch Jordan Peters' training video. I don't really watch a lot of people's training videos, at least lately, but Jordan is somebody who I'll always watch. I have some, let's see if I can get it in frame. Oh, right there, in the cup in the corner. I have some zero sugar twist up, which is Walmart's like off-brand version of like a lemon lime soda. That's a caffeine-free diet soda, and there's, I guess, a little tip for you guys. I know that diet soda is pretty common in the fitness space, but just be careful of your caffeine intake that comes from that. Just kind of like a very common one off the top of my head is Diet Coke. Diet Coke, if you have like a 2 liter, for example, which is what we usually buy is 2 liters. There may be 50 milligrams of caffeine in a serving, but there may be like 6 servings in the whole bottle. And, that's 300 milligrams in the whole bottle. And that is an energy drink, guys. So just be mindful. Most of the diet soda that we buy is caffeine free. I did have a little diet root, Dr. Pepper a little earlier, and that was caffeinated, but I didn't really have that much of it. But all the lemon lime stuff is caffeine free. We are going to try this in this lighting. This looks kind of wicked, but I think you guys can at least see me. So obviously just got out of the Epsom salt bath, and I was actually in there for a really long time. I was in there for like 45 minutes and then took a shower after that. So they're not usually that long, but tonight's was that long. Time for the last meal. This is a staple meal. If you guys have seen any full day of eating video before, this is my last meal every single night. This is 450 grams of plain non-fat Greek yogurt, and then I sweeten that with 25 grams of unsweetened baking cocoa, and that turns it into like a chocolate yogurt, chocolate pudding, but it's very bitter, so I sweeten that with 5 grams of stevia, which does have calories, so that's just worth mentioning. And then I have, if you can see that on top, I have 100 grams of the mixed berry medley. That is the 3rd time today that I have used that. And then this is a new addition now that I'm in a diet break. And this is going to sound weird, guys, but bear with me. I'm going to add 25 grams, again, raw weight, of jasmine rice to the yogurt. And then I'm going to mix that in there. And then that'll be the final meal of the day. I know that sounds weird, but if you guys have ever had like rice pudding, usually rice pudding is like a cinnamon flavor, and this is chocolate, but it's the same type of texture, kind of. or if you've had like tapioca pudding, it's kind of like the same texture. I know that it's strange, but I've been enjoying it lately for some weird reason. And the other option is like 25 grams of cream of rice or 25 grams of Rice Krispie cereal. And both of those just kind of seem like a really small amount. But what the rice does to the texture of the yogurt is, I don't know, that's a better investment of my macros tonight. So I'm going to mix this up, eat this as my last meal, and then get to bed. Obviously today was a rest day, which means that tomorrow is a training day, and I am excited to get in the gym, which I haven't always been able to say lately. So probably just from the training video that I watched tonight, but I'm excited to get in the gym tomorrow and get after it. So again, gonna get this last meal in, get to bed, and then we'll wrap this one up. As always, guys, thanks for watching today's video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you're training today, then train hard. If you're resting today, then rest hard. As always, take care of yourselves and stay tuned for the next video, guys.